Hey guys, it's Shamim Nazir. I'm the Doctor Investor. I created the Doctor Investor platform to help inspire other physicians who want to maybe create a business, invest in alternative investments, or take advantage of smart tax strategies. And I'm an ER physician. I've been an ER physician for over almost 25 years now. And I understand why doctors are looking for alternative investments or passive income because it's just getting harder to be a doctor, right? I mean, in some ways, it's a challenge. It's still a great profession. There's a lot of wonderful things we get to take advantage of, but there's a lot more regulation, a lot more metrics and requirements that we're now having to keep up with, and that tends to take a toll. And we tend to feel disillusioned and wonder how it all happened and how are we here today. So that's a bit about the Doctor Investor, and I want to just now talk a little bit about commercial real estate syndications because I know a lot of physicians are interested in real estate, and they often wonder, should I buy single family homes or rental properties? Should I get a small multifamily? Should I invest in a syndication or something else? And I felt the same way. I had the same exact questions. And I actually, tried a little bit of getting into single family or small multifamily. And I decided it wasn't a good fit for me because I have a full-time job that actually will earn me a lot better income than if I were to have a rental property. And it takes a considerable amount of personal time to manage a rental property like a single family home or a small multifamily. And I decided for myself at least that wasn't the best fit. And I wanted something that would give me passive opportunities instead of something so active. So that's why I went into commercial real estate, and decided to invest in commercial real estate syndications. I started doing that personally, and then I found like a lot of my friends were curious and wanted to get into it. I, started creating, organizing a meetup to help educate other physicians and friends about it. And that's how the Doctor Investor was created. And a lot of people ask me, so what is a syndication and how does it work? Well, basically, a commercial real estate syndication is a partnership. It's a partnership between a general partner and limited partners. Now, a general partner could be one person, it could be a group or a company, and that general partner is often also called a sponsor or an operator. And if they're developing a property, they could be called a developer. And their job is to find the deal, do the due diligence, and then also create the business plan. So what does that look like? Well, if you're going to acquire a property, first you've got to find it. And that is really hard because you don't just look them up on the MLS. The ones on the MLS are not the ones you want. You want to find properties before they hit the market. And you would have to market yourself to sellers or owners of properties. That's one way. And the other way is brokers. So these sponsors spend a lot of time developing relationships with brokers so that these brokers will bring them properties that may go up for sale before they list them. And the other thing that the sponsor has to do a lot of is research. They've got to research markets and sub-markets to really understand where they want to invest, where they can make a profit for their investors. And because, as you know, like local sub-markets can be so different, like even in Dallas or Plano where I live, I mean, blocks away, it could be a totally different market than, what you would expect. So you've got to do all that research and find the property. And then when you even think you've got it, oh, wow, this is a great, potential deal. You've got to do a lot of due diligence before you acquire it. You've got to do all the inspections and, check out the roof, the electrical, the foundation, or if it's even land, you've got to get the soil tested. You've got to make sure there's no floodplains and other things. You've got to figure out, is this property going to work for what you want to do? And then you've got to obviously check if it's a multifamily, you're going to get the rent roll, the profit and loss statements, all these kinds of things together, and you've got to look it all over and make sure that it fits your goals. So that's part of what the sponsor has to do. And then they've got to get the financing. And they also develop, these sponsors will have hopefully a good track record and relationships with banks and lenders so that they can get the best financing for the deal. So the general partner or sponsor is in charge of basically finding the property, doing all the due diligence, and getting the financing and structuring the deal or the business plan. And then the other half of that partnership is the limited partners. The limited partners are bringing in equity. Equity is essentially the cash, the money that is going to be used for financing, essentially like a down payment. So they're bringing in the down payment to then go to the bank and get the rest of the financing and then execute this business plan, which will be mainly acquiring something, then improving it, and then selling it. That's the basic outline of most real estate deals. Even if you're buying land, you're essentially improving upon the land by building something, and then you're hopefully selling it. The other very popular type of real estate or business plan is the value add multifamily. And what that does is you get an apartment complex, which is called multifamily, and then you rehab it. So you get something with a few problems, not a lot of problems, but a few problems. Like they need a little fixer-upper, and then they fix it up, and they raise the rents a little bit, they increase the revenue, and then they sell the property to a larger buyer. So that is the basic structure of a syndication. The general partners and the limited partners are essentially pooling their resources and skills because the sponsor is bringing in their expertise in managing real estate, their track record, their relationships with brokers and lenders, and they are also putting in all the upfront costs of doing the due diligence, the attorney's fees, and also, perhaps more money towards the deal itself to help finance the deal. So they're putting all that in. And then the limited partners are putting in their money. And then you go buy the property, you improve upon the property, and then you hope to sell it. And usually this takes about, 5 years or so is the general theme. Now, it could take a little bit less or more depending on the size of the project. And so you've got to be willing to park your money, number one, and let that business plan happen. And then obviously, depending on where the market is, it may take longer than the 5 years that you might expect. So you kind of do have to be comfortable with, parking your money and, writing it out. And then the other very significant point is that the limited partners have no control over the deal. They do not make any decisions regarding the financing or the asset management or the sale of the property. So whenever someone is investing and expecting a profit without control over that investment, that's called a security, and that is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So when you are investing in a syndication, you are purchasing securities. And that means you have to have a lot of paperwork, and because that kind of transaction is very heavily regulated. So that's why when you want to invest in a syndication, they send you to an investor portal where you will have a very large document that is sometimes 200 pages long. That is the private placement memorandum. And that document explains the whole structure of the company, the deal, and the profit share, the fees, etc. Now, the nice thing about being a limited partner, the good and bad, is that you don't have any further legal or financial liabilities, and you also don't have any more control than investing your capital. So it's not for everyone. I mean, I think it depends. If you're comfortable with allowing someone else to manage that investment for you, then it's a great fit. But if you're very uncomfortable having someone else manage that property and execute the business plan, then it's not going to work. So I always tell people that, like, it's, it's not, it depends on what your personality is, what your other responsibilities are. If you have time and energy and you would rather manage your own property and have things under your own control, then that is not then you probably don't want to invest in a syndication. You probably would want to go purchase your own real estate, whatever kind that is, whether it's single family homes or multifamily or other things. So you got to like take it, everything, all investments can be good, but they're all for, they all fit a particular need in the market, right? So you got to just look at that. And then if you are more curious, you want to read a little more, you download my free ebook that should be in the description. And you'll learn a little bit more about how syndications are structured and what to expect.